Alright guys, we are right on an early morning low and we're fishing a blind gutter or a big drain, and we're Ned rigging, and we're going to give you 5 tips for fishing the Ned rig today. We'll probably end up with a few more than 5 tips, but yeah, five key tips that I'm going to go through. Here's one for you straight up. Don't forget your TRD 2.75 inch bugs. Break those claws apart out of the packet, those 2 bigger claws. So it's low tide, pretty much dead tide now, so I'm going to start fishing really light. I've got a 1/15 ounce NedlockZ Jighead, TT Nedlocks, with a 2.75 inch TRD bugs in hot snakes, and there's virtually no run in this drain, so that's why I've started off with that really light jig head. And then as we fish, as the tide rises, I'll probably go to a 1/10. And really with the, oh yep, there we go, fish on first cast. First cast, what are you, buddy? Oh, what are you? First cast in this drain. The good thing about this drain being an early morning, oh nice little flatty. Being an early morning, this drain hasn't been hit by other fishers. So I like to sneak into these drains early or come in late in the arvo when it all settles down again. So first cast on the Ned rig, that 1/15, he's just spat that out. But that's a nice, that 1/15 ounce gives it a beautiful slow fall. So it gives the fish plenty of time to see it. You know, there's not much run here. It gives the fish plenty of time to see that plastic falling. Come on, buddy. Put you on the grips. Oh, I'll let him settle a bit. You can see this is one of my go-tos in the Ned rig. Yeah, the Ned rig just presents different to a standard jig head. You've got that mushroom style head that really stalls when you stop it and falls straight down, and you get that stand-up presentation. So in this drain, you know, it could be a little squid, a crab, a prawn, and you can see straight up that flathead was all over that. So first cast of the day, got to be happy with that. Oh, come on, buddy. I was going to let you go, but you've spiked me in the kneecap, so I'm thinking we're going to measure you, and you might come home for sherry for dinner, and then we'll let the rest of your mates go. Get him on the grips. Yeah, there you go. So that's not bad for us. First fish of the morning. We've only got a short one this morning. We'll probably do an hour and a half, but the key is we're fishing, you know, the right stage of the tide. We're fishing that low, a little bit of run up, and that one is about a 43. So we're going to put him in the box, take him home for dinner, and then we'll let the rest of them go. So one for sherry for dinner. Great start to the morning. It's a cracker glass out, and we're fishing that Ned Rig system. So that's one of the keys, I believe, to the Ned Rig system, is that stand up. You know, if you stall a normal jig head, it'll often glide down and then stand up. This guy here, he really hinges on that head because it's a flat head, so it'll stop, fall straight down, and those legs get up there and kick. So it's really good for fishing structure. So one tip I would give you for fishing the Ned rig is think about the structure you're fishing. Like you can see here, I've got broken weed patches. I've got weed and rubble. I'm watching the sounder to sit in the main drain, and I'm fishing basically weed edges and other structure like that. So I can cast this right to the weed edge, it'll fall straight down, and it's right in their face, and then I can just twitch it and pause it and hop it and move it out from that weed edge, and the fish are just all over it. So it's a very natural presentation for this environment. These little creatures often live around structure. You know, they don't want to be out in open water in the middle of nowhere, so they'll often be up in around weed and rock and rubble and mangroves and all sorts of other structure. So I love the Ned rig for structure fishing, especially when I'm fishing slow like this. You know, I can see the structure. I've got a defined area that I want to fish, so you can really work that area thoroughly over with the Ned rig. Don't need to fish fast, just cover that particular area that you're wanting to fish. You know, you might be fishing your way along down a rock wall, might be fishing your way along mangrove edges, might be fishing your way along a weed edge or a rock bar, But the Ned Rig, the little creatures that we fish in the Ned Rig, like the 2.75 inch TRD BugZ, which is this guy here, 2.5 inch TRD CrawZ, you know, they really represent the food that these fish are eating. Right, so structure would be one of the keys. Oh, that's just landed on a fish, you're joking. Structure and bait. So look for structure, look for bait. This thing just hit the bottom and the fish ate it. You know, that slow natural fall of that 1/15 ounce head in these shallows. That's another nice little flatty. He won't be legal, which is okay, we're letting them go anyway, but how's that? Good fun. Because it's a dull sort of morning, we've got overcast skies and that sort of thing, I'm actually fishing a hot snakes colour, which is one of my favourites. It's a UV colour, but I've put an orange head on here just for a bit of pop, bit of UV pop. Make it easier for the fish to find it in these gloomy conditions. So there we go, it's a little pocket rocket, we'll put him back in, he's away. So because of the gloomy conditions, we've gone for that UV reactive hot snakes colour, UV reactive head in that orange head. If it was super sunny and clear, I might change that to a green pumpkin or a black head, and I might go the deal or a more natural colour in that 2.75 inch TRD BugZ. So there would be another tip to consider, would be consider your colours. So if it's dark, dirty sort of water, you might want more UV. If it's clear water, bright sunny days, you might want less UV, more natural sort of colour. Tide's pretty dead, but it will start running in soon, so we'll make the most of this low tide. Lots and lots of birds working up in the end of this drain. That's another good, oh, there's another one. That's another good sign. That's another good sign, is all those birds feeding up in there. That means there's plenty of life in here. That's a nice floaty too. Beautiful, another beautiful fish. TRD BugZ, 2.75 inch. Oh, he popped me off. No, we didn't want that. You know, that's my fault. There's another tip for you when fishing in general. Check your leader. I actually felt that leader and I thought it was a little rough, and I didn't change it, and that's given him the purchase to do that head shake and pop that off. Check your leader. Always check your leader. I did check my leader. It felt rough. I didn't do anything about it. You can probably see the rough end of that leader. Alright, I'm just going to tie a locked blood knot. Anyone that wears glasses like me knows how hard this is. Now I'm going to lubricate this knot. Locked blood knot tied on there. Want to get our plastic nice and straight, so our TRD BugZ in through the center of the body there. It's only a small hook, it's a size 2 hook on this 1/15 ounce, but you can see it's pinning those floaties no problem. Alright, we'll pop out through the back there. Now I'm not quite center, I really want to take the time to be nice and centered in that plastic. Nice and straight. Yeah, that's pretty good, that's sitting pretty straight. And remember, out of the packet, 2.75 inch TRD BugZ, pop those claws apart. So 3 flatties in quick time, fishing this drain with our 2.75 inch BugZ. That Ned Rig allows you to really, like, you can see I'm not in a hurry, I'm giving it plenty of time on the bottom, and that it is a creaturey looking thing, so give the fish some time to see it, eat it. You know, your creatures don't shoot off here and there and race around like a bait fish. They're generally more like a crab or a yabby, where they'll often move, they'll only move short distances and they won't move super fast or anything like that. But the thing with the Ned Rig is that rapid stand up. So, you know, if you walk into the shallows and you see a little sand crab or whatever, up come the claws in defense, you know. So it's that natural defensive pose, I reckon, that really fires the fish up. When you're retrieving it, it's moving away from them, it's fleeing. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I missed that one, did I? Or was it a bit of bottom? And when you're pausing it, it's that rapid stand-up defensive sort of pose. So I think the Ned Rig is working for you all the time. And then when it's sitting on the bottom, it's sitting directly in that stand-up, and any water movement helps it move around as well. So to me, I think it's, yeah, always active, always working for you. Great presentation, especially around shallow water structure. You can also anchor if you want to, you know, where we got those couple of floodies at the start, we could anchor there and really cover that ground effectively. That's another option, just anchor and work a particular area, move up, anchor, work a particular area, really systematically break it down. These sorts of areas fish well no matter where you are. If you can find a drain, like a sort of just a blind gutter that leads up and then dead ends on the low, the fish will sort of hold up in there, bait will hold up in there, so you can just push your way up into there. And then when the tide starts to lift, you can still fish in that drain for a bit, and when the tide gets to quite full, you can be up on the flats around this drain. I'm just fanning my casts to cover the area, because down in this gutter there'll be bits of old timber, there'll be old, yep, there we go, there'll be old crab pots, there'll be weed edges, there'll be lumps and clusters of weed. So by fanning the casts around, we're actually, you know, doing the work to cover ground and find these fish. That's another nice little flatty, good fun. Pocket rocket. He was sitting right up on the edge of that weed there. You can see the weed sticking out of the water. As soon as this got near him, nailed it. Just drifted down into his gob. Oh, come on, buddy. Let's get you back in the water. There we go. Another nice little flatty away. And what do you think we're going to do now? We're going to check our leader. Yep, leader's okay. We're all good. Beautiful little presentation. Alright, so we just released that fish, and one other tip I'd say with the Ned Rig is scent up, because one of the key things we talked about before was fishing slower. Because we're fishing slower, we're fishing creatures and crustaceans and all sorts of things that we're fishing a bit slower. Because we're fishing slower, we want to make sure that we're scented up so that the thing is as realistic as it can possibly be. When the fish comes over for a look, anything that might make it bite or bite harder, hold on longer, is a good thing. So I always apply scent when I'm fishing, and especially when I'm fishing the Ned Rig, when I'm fishing slow. So if you're slowing it down, they got more time to make a call on it, so you want it to be as natural as possible. Yep, there's a tap. Yep, fish on. We just applied some fresh scent then. Just another little flatty. Beautiful. This drain's got a few in, and they're loving the Ned. Only another little bloke, but good fun, that's for sure. Get a hold of that jig head. When I'm handling these guys, you know, they've got spikes each side of their head, and also a spike on top of their head. So when I handle them, I'll often grab the jig head so that I've got control of them. Then I'm going to put my hand in between the two fins, and those fins there will protect me from those spikes there. So I can put my hand under there and just shake that jig head out. If you want to net lip grips, definitely makes handling them easier, but I'll just normally grab them there, and that allows me to dispatch them back into the water easily without getting stabbed. So we just sent it up and we got a fish straight up. I like scent when I'm fishing, and especially when I'm fishing slower. Yeah, another tip I would give you with the Ned Rig, because Ned Rig jig heads are pretty lightweight. So we're fishing small plastics, you know, 2.75 inch bugs, 2.5 inch TRD CrawZ, 2.5 inch, yep, there's a fish, 2.5 inch grubs, 2.5 inch slim swims. So we're fishing light. That one looked silver, Brimbo. Because we're fishing, you know, we're fishing pretty light, you need a nice light combo for casting it. So that's a key. This is I'm fishing a TT Rods Black Mamba 1 to 3 kilo. I love the 1 to 3 for flicking the Ned Rig, because most of these Ned Rig jig heads, he's not a bad brim, Not a bad brimmy, he's good fun. We'll get him back in the drink. With these Ned Rig Jigheads there, you know, 1/15 number 2. Oh, he just pooped everywhere. Good job, buddy. Thanks for that. Yeah, with these Ned Rigs, see you, buddy. You're feral. Oh, gross. On me black Mamba. On my lap. So, you know, we're talking 1/15 ounce jig head here, number 2 hook, and a small plastic. So it's a light finesse presentation. So you need a rod and reel that can deliver it. So that's our combo. You know, it's a beautiful lightweight combo. That 1 to 3 kilo TT Rods Black Mamba has plenty of punch in the tip for a long cast. Great tip for working the Ned Rig, and then it's got enough grunt in the bottom that if you hook a good flatty, you can still handle it. And that 1000 ITX is super smooth. Smooth drag, light reel. Oh, we just spooked a fish there. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to just put us over the other side of the gutter again. Pretty prosperous little session this morning. Flicking the Ned Rig. Just pushing in that tide, so. Yep. Oh, you're joking. We got another E. Just threw that out again. Oh, that is a jumping flathead. How cool is that? That is one angry flathead. I don't know if I want this bloke too close to the act. It is a flat fish, eh? It just came completely out of the water. Ooh, I don't like the feeling of that around the gills. Alright, we're doing a complete pirouette. Feels alright, this one. Alright, let's spin us around. Just going to spin us out into the middle a bit more here. Get him away from any edge structure. Feels like a pretty nice fish. Jumped out of the water, looked alright. Where are you, buddy? That's what we were just talking about. That little 1 to 3 black Mamba can handle a decent fish, and that's a decent fish. Beautiful fish. Okay, where's your head, mate? Spin around and put your head in the net. There's a tip for you. You don't want that tail in the net, you want the head in the net so they swim in for you. Alright, and also leave enough line out on your reel, on your rod, and line out to guide it into the net. That's a good fish. That fish hit it in super shallow water, I reckon, because it came straight out of the water. Oh, settle down, mate. I just want to get you back in the drink. Open your mouth. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. There you go. 1/15 ounce head, number 2 hook. Pinned beautifully right in the jaw there. So it doesn't take a big hook to catch a big fish. Especially that's built on the same hook as a TT Headlocks HD. So that's a brutally strong hook on that there. I reckon that one's getting up towards 60. Oh, we're in the weed now. We've got a giant mess here as well. We'll just sit in the weed for a second and just get a basic measure on this. Be high 50s, I think. 40. Be getting up there, I reckon, towards 60. And this is one of my favourite bits is sending the big girl back. So I'm going to send her back over into the shallows there. Off she goes. How's that? Beautiful. Almost 60, that fish. So absolute cracker. I'll clean up this mess and we'll get back into it. Alright, another tip I'd give you when fishing the Ned Rig, it's a bit of a general tip really, but especially when fishing the Ned Rig, is to mix up your retrieve. Like, sometimes the fish will want a more aggressive retrieve. Sometimes they'll want short pauses, they'll want long pauses. They'll want it twitched over the top of the weed, not in amongst the weed. Sometimes they'll want it paused and dropped right in amongst the weed. Sometimes they're in the sandy patches, sometimes they're, you know, right on the hard on the weed edge, sometimes they're out in the middle of a drain. So I'd just say mix up the retrieve, and also just mix up whatever you're doing until you find something that works. So they don't have to be massive changes. Just as I'm retrieving, you know, I might fan my casts fishing fairly quickly, then I might fan them fishing slower. Yep, there's a fish. Oh no, missed him. I might yeah, got him that time. Then I might you know, I might shake it a bit more aggressively. I might hop, do a few solid hops rather than a shake. It's another nice little lizard. Come on, buddy, you're off. That's a good release. We don't mind those releases. Yak side, if we wanted him to eat, we'd net him. Yeah, so just mix it up. You know, that retriever, I was just shaking it. Doesn't really matter this morning. Well, look at, they're all fired up in this drain, but sometimes I'll fish a definite 1-2 hop and a long pause back to the bottom. 1-2 hop, long pause back to the bottom. Sometimes I'll fish more of a 1-2 while I'm winding, so I'll shake and wind at the same time with more subtle sort of shakes rather than defined hops. But it can make a difference. So if you're not catching fish, there's an old saying about, you know, how can you expect the outcome to be different if you're doing the same thing or whatever. I don't know how it goes, but something like that. You know, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to often get the same result. So fishing changes day to day, changes based on the tides, the bait, the weather, the water, water clarity, all sorts of variables will change on the bite on the day. So it's important that you mix things up. That might have been a yellowtail pike, I think. He didn't get it real solid, that's for sure. There's a fair bit of weed there I can feel myself hopping through. That's another tip for you. Don't forget your weedless option in the Ned Rig, and that's the NedlockZ EWG. So if you find you're fouling on weed, catching weed all the time, just change it up and fish the weedless jig head. I'm in amongst the weed a bit here now. Just going to push over to the edge of the drain, find a little bit deeper water again. Oh, that got drilled as soon as it hit the water. Wonder if that's a bream or a flatty. You can see how far we are from the drain here. There's not a lot of water. We're in half a metre of water. It feels flatfish. Feels solid too. Oh, have you swallowed it? Have you swallowed it? Don't bite off my last TRD BugZ. Look at all the jelly prawns jumping. Madness. Oh, that's a good fish too. Come on. Love catching these guys on this TT rods, black Mamba 1 to 3. It's a bit of a weapon. Come on, buddy. Oh yeah, it's a nice fish in the shallows. Catching flatties in the shallows is pretty awesome. So I just want to leave myself out enough line that I can steer this guy's head into the net. Come on, come. Head in the net. That's it, beautiful. So that I can control that fish. That is another, oh, that's another healthy flatty. That'd be probably mid-50s, I guess. I'm going to drop the grips on this one just to make handling easier. I'm making a racket. Alright, grips are on. Yes. Oh, there we go. Placky's off. Beautiful. Oh, and hooked around my grips. So there you go. That's that little Ned Rig presentation again in the shallows. Slowed it down and got scoffed by this flatty. Well, that one, as soon as it landed, it ate it anyway. Let's send him on his way. Back down to terrorise those mullet. Brilliant morning session on the mighty Ned Rig. So change things up. As you can see, we've paddled back out of the drain. So a couple more tips. When we paddled out, we paddled a line that we didn't want to fish. So we didn't spook anything that we're going to fish through when we came back out again. So we left ourselves clean water to fish. The other thing we did is, oh, get out there. We've got that change of presentation. The other thing we did was when we were drifting in, we spent about half an hour drifting up into this drain. We made note of landmarks that are going to help us to do the fish right into that gutter where we want to be. So there's a couple of crab pots here that I noted where they were in terms of the edge of the drain. So I'm using those crab pots to guide myself back in the gutter. And there's also some structure on the bank over to the side there that I'm using to note sort of where I was in the gutter when I caught fish, so that I can keep working that area consistently. So we've got a slight breeze kicking up now. which might mess with our drift a little, so we just got to try and manage our drift to position ourselves to cast where we want to cast to. So just remember, if you're drifting an area over and over again, make sure you, if you backtrack where you're not going to fish, give yourself clean water to fish, and use any marks you can around you to help guide you to where you caught the fish previously, or the areas that you want to fish specifically. Yep. Nope. I think I just got excited. Yep, I got him that time. No, instead of Brimbo. You come on, buddy, you're doing my head in. Crazy. Still hear some brim around me sloping. I think that was a brim had a hold of his claw a couple of times. What do we got this time? Flatfish. That could have been the guy that had a couple of goes, because he's not a real big fella. That's that 1/10. So as that tide's lifted, even the 1/10 I'm finding is taking a little bit longer to get down to the bottom because of that increased water. So, oh, but the step up got us a fish, so it's all good. Grab that jig head, pop him off and away. 2.5-inch TRD CrawZ, 1/10 NedlockZ green pumpkin. So more natural colour as this clean water pushes in, and just to mix it up a bit as well. I can see a slight ripple here, so that ripple is the edge of the weed. So I'm casting to the ripple, and that allows me to fish non-weedless still, because I'm not in the weed itself, I'm fishing right on that edge, and it allows me to fish prime water where those flatties will be. Yep, there we go. I saw a bit of bait movement over there, so that inspired the cast in that direction. Bait movement's always a good sign that there's fish in the area. Fish are there hassling the bait, only a little bloke, but always good to spot bait, make the cast, get the fish. So I'll always be scoping and listening for bait while I'm fishing. Nice little fella. Get off there. Away he goes. Oh, there's a good bite. That was solid. Oh, that was on the paws. Twitch, pause. And he drilled it on the paws. What is this one? Silver? Are you silver? Yep, silver. Brimbo. Yeah, he cracked that on the paws, and that braid. Pulse X8, beautiful braid. I could feel that clunk as he ate it. That's a good brim. That's a nice, healthy looking brim. Solid fish. What a clunk that was. I love that feeling. And these guys, you know, these brim like this, they have no problem eating a crab. They love eating crabs and that sort of thing. So that's just a drop and a clunk. Brilliant fish. Great big solid brim. Smash that. You know, have a look at that thing. That's a beautiful bite-sized snack for a brim like that. So I think that'll wrap us up. That's a beautiful fish to finish with. Stonker brim. I'll let him go. So there we go, folks. I hope you enjoyed that little Ned Rig session. One of my favourite presentations for fishing the river and estuary systems, that's for sure. Hopefully you got some tips out of there and you can go and get stuck into some fish yourself on that Ned Rig system. If you want to learn more about the Ned Rig system, you'll find loads of info at tackletactics.com.au. Check out the rigging guide section and the tips and techniques section. And also you can check out our YouTube channel, Tackle Tactics TV, and make sure you subscribe for plenty more videos coming your way. All right, that's it. Time to go do some work. All the best with the fishing. Cheers.